How is it going, everyone? Welcome back to another blast from the past episode. I know I haven't done one of these in a while, and I do apologize. I've been sick and very busy on vacation, got married, honeymoon, all this fun stuff, but we're back at it. In today's episode, we're looking back on actually one of my favorite shows that I remember growing up. Now, what if I told you there was a 90s cartoon about ancient mummies who come back to life in a modern day San Francisco to fight evil? You probably think that's ridiculous. Well, welcome to the world of Mummies Alive. Now guys, before we open the sarcophagus to this show, make sure to hit that like button down below and subscribe if you have not. Ring the bell to stay notified with everything on the channel, and join the Discord if you want. We're a growing community there as well. With that all out of the way, guys, let's get into it. Now, Mummies Alive premiered on September 15th, 1997. It was created by Eric Leward and Julia Leward. It consisted of 52 episodes, and the production company was DIC Entertainment and Shen Groupe. I do apologize if I mispronounced that one. There was actually a toy line as well, released by Kenner in 1997. Comic books had issued and were published to accompany the show. Now, Mummies Alive is one of those shows that most 90 kids either vaguely remember or completely forget about, but had one of the coolest, most original premises for a Saturday morning cartoon. A story about ancient Egypt, magic, and mummy warriors. What else do you want? The story centers around a boy named Presley Carnovan. Now, Presley is just a normal boy in San Francisco until he discovers that he's the reincarnation of Prince Rapsis, the son of an ancient Egyptian pharaoh. Sounds pretty normal so far, right? Well, things get crazier when a sorcerer named Scarab, who was alive in ancient Egypt, is resurrected in the present day. His mission is to steal Presley's life force so he can become immortal. Now, after trying to do this in ancient Egypt as well, after being resurrected, his plan commences once again. So to help protect Presley, 4 ancient mummies, Jackal, Wrath, Armon, and Nefertina, are brought back to life. They were once the bodyguards of Prince Rapsis and now have to defend his modern reincarnation. Now, these aren't your typical mummies though. They were fully equipped with magical armor, powers, and vehicles. They can even transform into these super powered forms that give them these new abilities. Basically, it's ancient Egypt meets Power Rangers, and it's really cool. Their transformation is what you wait for in the episode, and honestly, it blows me away every single time. Even during the theme song, they show little clips of it, and it's really cool, and it brings you right into the show, and it gets you so amped. Now let's meet the mummies a little bit more in depth. First, we got Jackal, the leader of the group. He was once a falcon hunter and is kind of like the dad of the group. His armor gives him the power of flight, and his weapon is a bow that shoots magical energy. Then there's Wrath, the brains of the team. He's a sorcerer, and his body armor allows him to manipulate magic. He's basically the scientist of the group, always finding ways to outsmart the enemies. After that, we have Armon, the muscle of the group. He was once a soldier in ancient Egypt and now uses his super strength to fight off enemies. He's also got a mechanical arm that can transform into various weapons, which is just really cool to see. And lastly, there's Nefertina, the team's chariot driver, who was secretly a woman in ancient Egypt. Now, as she states, back in ancient Egypt times, the only person that knew she was a female was Presley. And even when Presley meets her now back in the modern era, he quickly realizes that she's a female. But she's quick, agile, a good fighter, and acts as the driver of the group as well. Now, the villain is Scarab. Of course, no 90s action cartoon is complete without a cool villain. Scarab is the main antagonist, an evil sorcerer who was cursed to eternal life after his betrayal of the Pharaoh. He's obsessed with stealing Presley's life force to become immortal and more powerful. Scarab doesn't just work alone. He's got his own minions like his pet snake, Hika, and various monsters that he brings to life using ancient spells. Throughout the series, Scarab and his creatures constantly challenge the mummies as they try to protect Presley. The show is filled with magical battles, ancient Egyptian mythology, and even some cool futuristic technology. It's like they threw every cool idea into one show and somehow it worked. Who doesn't love ancient fighting mummies attacking and protecting a pharaoh while driving a modern car, while transforming into other Power Rangers? It honestly has everything and it's such a cool show. Now, the creation of Mummies Alive, like I said before, was produced by DIC Entertainment, a company responsible for other well-known cartoons like Inspector Gadget and The Real Ghostbusters. The creators of the show, Julia and Eric Laward, had previously worked on the 90s X-Men cartoon, so they know they had a knack for action-packed storytelling. The show's animation was done by the Canadian studio Shen Croupe, and it was aired a part of the syndicate BKN block. While it never became a huge hit, it gained a cult following over the years, especially among fans of ancient mythology and classic 90s action cartoons. Now, unfortunately, despite the cool toys, the comics that also spawned with the show, Mummies Alive didn't last beyond its first season. So why didn't Mummies Alive catch on like other 90s cartoons? Part of the problem was timing. It aired during the time when shows like Pokemon, Power Rangers were dominating the kids markets. And Mummies Alive just didn't have that same cultural impact. Another factor could be the show's somewhat complicated plot. While the premise was cool, it might have been a little harder for younger kids to latch onto it compared to a more straightforward superhero or monster battling show. Now, even though it only lasted one season, Mummies Alive left a lasting impression on those who watched it. Fans of the show continue to talk about it online, and its unique mix of mythology, action, and adventure makes it stand out from other 90s cartoons. If you haven't revisited Mummies Alive in a while, I highly recommend checking it out. It's a time capsule of the 90s animation, and who knows, you might find yourself loving and wishing for a reboot. So there it is, Mummies Alive, an underrated gem of the 90s that gave us ancient mummies with superpowers, a villain bent on immortality, and a whole lot of action. Let me know in the comments down below if you remember this show and what was your favorite episode if you did watch it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell if you want more deep dives into forgotten cartoons. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode of Blast for the Past TV, and I hope to see you guys on the next one.